wishes it. She's curious about the planet.
Hi guys, welcome to the Kylo Ren channel. It's Congru as always, and today I'm going to be talking about something that's really interesting to me. It's the theory that Jar Jar could be a Sith Lord. It's a silly theory and it's a very intriguing theory, so I just wanted to cover it, just have a look at it. This guy on Reddit, let's get his name, Lumpawaro. He put this theory on Reddit like 4 years ago, but now that sort of episodes 7 to 9 are finished, I could sort of have a look at some past theories or some old content in the Star Wars universe. So yeah, the reason why I picked this one out, because the person who plays Jar Jar, Ahmed Best, actually said this in an interview in 2016 about the rumors of Jar Jar being a Sith Lord, and I quote, "What I can say about it is, and I kind of said this on Twitter, there's a lot about it that's true." Best hinted, "There are some things that are not true. Could Jar Jar have evolved into that? I think the answer is yes. Because of the backlash, and rightfully so, Lucasfilm backed off from Jar Jar a lot. But a lot of the influence I put into the character mirrored a lot of what was already in the Star Wars universe." And his tweet, which I'll put up on the screen as well, he says, "I will say this, it feels really good when the hidden meaning behind the work is seen, no matter how long it takes." In 2015, he said that with the hashtag TPM, which is the Phantom Menace, right? So, I mean, he seems to be alluding to the fact that they're not really if Jar Jar was a Sith Lord, but that Jar Jar was going to be a bigger character than he ended up being, right? We all know that no one liked Jar Jar. No one liked Jar Jar. And yeah, literally no one can, I could not find one person who would tell me, oh yeah, I really loved what Jar Jar did. And I really, yeah. So because of that comment, I think, I agree that Jar Jar would have a bigger role, but let's have a look at this theory. This theory is saying that Jar Jar would have been a skilled warrior, right? So firstly, the evidence that Jar Jar would be a skilled warrior, one of the first things they say is that, you know, he does a force jump, right? So at the start, when you first see him, when he dives into the pool, he does like this crazy force jump and dives in. I agree, all the Gungans you see, they don't have this, they're not crazily agile. I mean, it's sort of brushed off as Gungans are water species, so like the way he's diving in, but they live in a bubble under the water. So it's very interesting actually, looking at it like as if he did a force jump as opposed to just diving in for fun. It definitely does seem like a force jump there. That one that I was thinking, oh okay, yeah, I mean, you can't really explain that one away as just, oh no, yeah, Gungans are like really good at jumping, because no other Gungan shows any, like, they don't show that at all. What does seem a bit weird to me is that the Jedi don't react to it in any way. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are there, they're standing there, they're watching, but they look and they just carry on. They don't take it in any other way. Yeah, I mean, that is a very interesting point, right? So for that one, I'll give that a +1. I can't explain that one off. The guy then goes into talking about the fighting style of Jar Jar, right? So he seems to think that Jar Jar's fighting style is the Zhu Quan, drunken fist wushu. So yeah, so you basically, it imitates like sloshing and sort of the unpredictability of a drunkard, but they are proper precise movements to dissuade your enemy basically and make him confused, sort of thing. So he has various clips here showing where and when Jar Jar uses the Zhu Quan, and I think that's a bit far-fetched from the stuff that he's given. I don't like it. It's very hard to say that Jar Jar is using a drunken master style, but at the same time there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on, right? So Jar Jar, what's weird to me is that Jar Jar, he has this goofiness, but he always seems to come out of it all right, sort of thing. He almost seems to get too lucky, right? And the thing with luck in Star Wars is that it's well established way before the Phantom Menace in episodes 4, isn't it? That there is no luck, there's just the Force. And then you've got this one character, this one alien character who's everywhere. He goes to all the places. Like, he's like one of the main characters, right? He's very up and center in the Phantom Menace. So yeah, it's very weird to see what happens with this whole sort of I get lucky. Like, even if you look at the Battle of Naboo, right? In the Battle of Naboo, the guy gets half a droid attached to his leg, and he's still able to. He wins that whole fight. He wins that whole war section with the Gungans. He keeps it going until the computer is shut down and blown up by Anakin. So it's a very tricky one when you look at it, because it's like, how does a guy get that lucky? How does a guy look so stupid yet is effective at the same time? So yeah, Drunken Master is what he gives here, but I don't know. I really don't know. There's also a point in the film, I'm just going to read this out, in The Phantom Menace, when Jar Jar and the Jedi ambush the droids and rescue the Queen and her entourage. Jar Jar accidentally botches his leap from the balcony. So you can see when the Jedi, they're hiding behind the wall, they jump down, and you can see Jar Jar, he like sort of slips and grabs the ledge. Now, when this happens, you can see a droid, like in the shot, when you slow it down, you can see the droid looking, and then you can see Jar Jar falling, but you can see the droid's head looking where Jar Jar was, and then like moving, because Jar Jar sort of is just dropped in a completely different spot. Now, I will say the CGI is very deliberate. The director will tell you what he wants, exactly what he wants, and the people behind the CGI will do it, right? So I do not think this is a continuity error or anything like that. I do think this was meant, right? So Jar Jar does appear in one spot, but he drops like completely on the other side of the Jedi, to where he was actually originally. The guys slowed it down as well. I think that's a slow-mo video. So yeah, he's saying that Jar Jar force jumped, right? And Jar Jar did this because he wanted to what's the word? He wanted to take some of the attention of the droids away from the Jedi. So like, yeah, another point of sort of attack, so they couldn't just concentrate all of their blaster fire on the Jedi. Again, I have no explanation for this. This could really be a force jump. You don't really know. It's very strange. The droid's head moves like that to me is like, okay, this is definitely not a continuity error, so why did they put this in here? Like, and yeah, we're never going to get an answer for that one, but you can definitely see that there are some scenes that go by so quickly that you probably don't ask it on first viewing, but once you have this idea and then you look at the films again, it does seem a little bit like, wow, what's actually going on here? So yeah, I really like that. Another thing that I want to discuss as well that's really, really strange is that everyone is scared of Jar Jar on the Gungan city. So like, when Jar Jar takes the Jedi first, everyone's like backing away from him, like, whoa, it's this guy. And like, when you're thinking, oh, could he be a Sith Lord, then it's like, it becomes like really, really eerie. It's like, oh wait, Jar Jar, why are they so scared of you? He says, oh, he's like fumbled a few things and stuff, but if you're clumsy, people will not fear you. If you're clumsy, they'll just be looking to get you out as soon as possible. I don't think there would be like, you would be backing away in fear over someone who's just a klutz. So that was very interesting to me, and that's never really explained properly. I'm pretty sure Jar Jar just brushes it off, if that. If you know what he says though, let me know. But I'm pretty sure Jar Jar just brushes it off. Also, there's a lot of talk about Jar Jar using his hands, and obviously when using your hands a lot, it implies Jedi mind tricks. And there's a lot of footage that this guy goes through, a lot of them slow-mos, and these ones I have less confidence over in terms of meaning something, basically, because people go as far as to say that Qui-Gon was mind controlled, Padme was mind controlled, just everyone was mind controlled at some point. I know the Jedi at this point, they've used mind control very liberally and very freely. They don't care who they use mind control on, but I don't think all of these scenes that show any sort of hand waving means that whoever it is hand waving is doing the mind controls. So I would say that it's a bit more far-fetched to say that Jar Jar was using the mind controls. But then you have to take a look at it to account. What has Jar Jar actually done, right? So Jar Jar, he takes the Jedi to planet Gungan, to the Gungan city. He is going to be punished by the Gungan city, the Gungan leader, but Qui-Gon says he has a life debt to him, so he's gonna take him as a navigator, right? That's strange. Like, why is Qui-Gon just got this belief that this Gungan, this stupid klutz of a Gungan, can be a really good navigator for them when they found them in, like, screaming in the jungle of Naboo? So that is strange. And then you get Jar Jar becomes a general as well, and there's a lot of hand waving there as well. A lot of hand waving happens there. So Jar Jar becomes a general, and why is this stupid klutz becoming a general? I know he's done this stupid feat, this stupidly crazy feat of sort of winning that war section for the Gungans, but like, why are you making him general, right? I think he makes him general before he actually does those feats as well. Yeah, he does actually. Sorry guys. So he's made general before that fight. Like, he hasn't shown any competency up to that point. So why are they making him a general? Is that the mind control at work? I don't know. But then you go even further, right? You go into even further. So episode 2, Padme gets a assassination attempt on her life. Who becomes the stand-in senator for Padme? Jar Jar. Why is this klutz, this idiot, this buffoon, this hated character, why is this dumb guy becoming the stand-in senator for Naboo? And let me take this even further, guys. Get this. Who grants emergency powers? Who stands up to the Senate to grant emergency powers to Palpatine? It's Jar Jar. Like, and there's a lot of hand waving when he does that as well, and obviously this guy is saying this hand waving is a sign of not Jedi, but of the Force mind trick. That is actually when you consider the important moments that Jar Jar has been in, and most of those important moments lead to eventually Sidious becoming the Emperor. It's very, very intriguing to look at it that way, right? Every important moment for Emperor Palpatine, Darth Sidious, whatever you want to call him, every important moment sort of involves Jar Jar doing something, or involves Jar Jar, basically. Maybe inadvertently, maybe directly, but they involve Jar Jar. So that is a very, very interesting point. I really like that point, because you can even say at the end of episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Jar Jar is standing next to Palpatine at Qui-Gon's funeral. At the end of, well, not near to the end of episode 3, Jar Jar is at Padme's funeral with Palpatine. So it's very interesting as to if they were co-conspirators or not. But this theory seems to think that, yeah, Jar Jar Binks is definitely a co-conspirator to Palpatine. Those are definitely most of the stuff that I want to talk about. I do think that Jar Jar was going to be a bigger character, right? I do think that he had a bigger role to play, and he was going to be more important. Was he a Sith Lord? I think there's a lot of ambiguous stuff, and there is quite a few things to suggest that he is Force sensitive or Force trained or whatnot. But I don't think there's enough in The Phantom Menace to go on to fully support this theory, right? Of course, now that we've got the last couple of episodes, episodes 7 to 9, Jar Jar is nowhere to be seen, and Palpatine has sort of been revived. Well, not sort of revived. He never died in the first place, apparently. But so we can safely say that Disney have debunked this theory for their universe. But you can never be sure when the actor for Jar Jar, the actor that played Jar Jar, said what he said, what I mentioned at the start of the video, and obviously George Lucas coming out and saying, "Oh, Jar Jar's the key." I'm pretty sure most of you have heard that soundbite from him before, but I would really say that this theory is one of the more interesting and slightly more believable theories in the Star Wars universe. And one of the best things about Star Wars is this, like, fans can have their own opinions and have their own well thought out theories. These aren't just 2-bit theories, right? This guy has looked through all the evidence, and he's come out and been like, okay, like, I really believe this. And yeah, and we all know that for the last thing I'll say is that obviously he quotes this about Yoda, right? Yoda really comes from a tradition. This is what George Lucas said about Yoda. Yoda really comes from a tradition in mythological storytelling, fairy tales, of the hero finding a little creature on the side of the road that seems very insignificant and not very important, but who turns out to be the master wizard or the master thing. Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon do come across this insignificant and not very important Gungan who everyone who he lives with is scared of, which is never explained, and who sort of rises to power based on stupid buffoon-like sort of set pieces that he gets lucky over and wins the day. But yeah, as Obi-Wan said, there is no luck, there is the Force. So yep, I've been Congru. I think that's the end of the video, and I will talk to you next time. Peace out. Bye.